we are going to talk about PCR technique. It is the abbreviation of the polymerase chain reaction, which is a process used in molecular biology to amplify a single copy or a few copies of a piece of DNA across several orders of magnitude, generating thousands to millions of copies of a particular DNA sequence.
The PCR reaction requires the following components. First, DNA template, which is a genetic code to be copied. Second, the DNA polymerase enzyme that synthesizes new strands of DNA complementary to the target sequence. The first and most commonly used of these enzymes is the Taq DNA polymerase. Third, the primer. They are short pieces of single-stranded DNA from which the polymerase begins synthesizing new DNA. It also needs the oxynucleotide triphosphate, which are single units of the base's DNA, and acts as building blocks. And finally, reverse transcription PCR, in which the conversion of sample RNA into complementary DNA occurs.
There are three major steps of PCR. Series of cycles of three successive steps. It takes from 30 seconds to 1 minute. The first step is denaturation. The second step is annealing. The last step is extension of the template. Denaturation takes place at 94-99 degrees Celsius. Double-stranded DNA is denatured by dissolving hydrogen bonds between base pairs, resulting in two single-strand structures which act as template. Annealing step. The reaction temperature is lowered to 50-65 degrees Celsius for 20 to 40 seconds. Stable DNA hydrogen bonds are formed. The polymerase binds to the primer template hybrid and begins DNA synthesis.
Extension is the last step for PCR technique. The extension time depends on DNA polymerase used. In this step, the elongation of DNA sequence occurs at 72 degrees centigrade, which is suitable for DNA polymerase to do its function as Taq polymerase.
Continuous stir tank bioreactor. The content of the vessel no longer depends on this applies to the hold-up to microorganism and concentration of compounds of the medium in the fermenter. Advantages: continuous operation, good temperature control, simplicity of construction, low operation, easy to clean. Fluidized bed bioreactor, uniform particle mixing. Due to the intrinsic fluid-like behavior of the solid material, fluidized beds don't experience poor mixing as in packed beds. The complete mixing allows for a uniform product that can often be hard to achieve in the other reactor design. The elimination of the radial and axial concentration gradient also allow for better fluid-solid contact, which is essential for reaction efficiency and quality. Uniform temperature gradient. Many chemical reactions require the addition or removal of heat. Airlift bioreactors is simple design with no moving parts or agitator for less maintenance, less risk of defects. Easier sterilization, low energy requirement, greater heat removal. Photobioreactor is a bioreactor that utilizes a light source to cultivate phototrophic microorganisms. These organisms use photosynthesis to generate biomass from light and carbon dioxide and include plants, mosses, macroalgae, microalgae, cyanobacteria, and purple bacteria.
Advantages of PCR. There are many advantages of PCR, such as it is useful, non-invasive procedure. It is simple, as it is the simplest procedure, and also it is sensitive. The main advantage of PCR-based techniques are their speed. In principle, only 1 to 2 days are needed. This is true for diagnosis of TB and even more applications, such as diagnosis of drug resistance, mainly rifampicin, and species identification using probe.
Disadvantages of PCR. It requires expensive instruments, chemicals, and reagents. It is highly cost, so some people can't afford to do the test. False results may reduce sensitivity and specificity. To synthesize primers, we need to know the sequence flanking the DNA segment of interest applies only to short DNA fragments. Also, it requires trained technology.
PCR can be used for various applications in many fields, as it can be used in organ transplantation, HIV test, as it can recognize one viral genome among the DNA of more than 50,000 host cells, genetic fingerprinting, DNA fingerprinting, and DNA cloning, as it can concentrate fragmentation for insertion into a vector from a bigger genome that may be accessible in little amounts. Also, PCR is used in investigation of example of quality expression and in human studies and developmental science to build up connection between species. It also can be used in many diagnostic tests and that are used in identification and evaluation of various pathogens, such as HIV-1 that causes AIDS, hepatitis B and C infection, Mycobacterium tuberculosis that causes tuberculosis, and many other pathogens.